When you're at your weakest, you find out who really loves you. And when I got sick, I found out the truth the hard way. We were together for 4 years. His name was Mark. We met at a coffee shop downtown, cliché, right? I spilled my latte, he laughed, offered a napkin, and from that moment on, we were inseparable. He was charming, ambitious, and made me feel safe. Or at least, I thought he did. I had a decent job at a marketing firm, and he was an engineer with big dreams of making it big. We talked about getting married, buying a little house somewhere warm, starting a family one day. You know, all those perfect life dreams you believe when love still feels unbreakable. But that illusion shattered fast. When I got sick, everything changed. At first, he was supportive, brought me soup, held my hand, said all the right things. But as the days got harder, he got quieter. Fewer visits, fewer calls. Until one night, he just didn't show up at all. I called him, texted him. Nothing. Days passed. Then a week. Finally, I got a message, short, cold, emotionless. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. That was it. For years gone in one text. I remember staring at my phone numb. No anger yet, no tears. Just empty. Like my heart had been vacuum sealed. My mom came over that night. She sat next to me on the couch, held my hand, and said, "Sweetheart, people show who they are when you need them most. Be glad you saw his truth before it was too late." At the time, those words hurt more than they helped. But later, they became my compass. Recovery was long, slow, lonely, but it taught me something I'd never learned before: how to rely on myself. I started walking again, then jogging, then working part-time, then full-time. And every step, I told myself, I don't need anyone who runs when life gets real. That sentence became my armor. A few months after I got back on my feet, I applied for a position at a wellness startup. They focused on affordable health tech for women, fitness, mental health, recovery tools. The founder, a woman named Olivia, looked at me during the interview and said, "You look like someone who's been through hell and came back with a plan." I laughed. Something like that. She hired me on the spot. That job changed my life. I started small, managing social media campaigns, learning how startups really work. Then one day, I stayed late to fix a presentation that our team messed up before a big investor pitch. Olivia saw it the next morning, and instead of scolding me for overstepping, she smiled and said, "You just saved this company." From then on, she mentored me. Taught me everything from leadership to investor relations to how to survive in boardrooms full of men who underestimated you the moment you walked in. 3 years later, I wasn't just an employee anymore. I was a partner. We rebranded the company, expanded it nationwide, and eventually sold it to a major healthcare firm for 8 figures. When that deal closed, I cried. Not because of the money, though yeah, that part was life-changing. But because for the first time, I felt like I'd won something real. Not against Mark. Not even against the illness. But against the version of myself who once believed she needed saving. After that, I took a long vacation, something I hadn't done in years. Hawaii. Just me, a beach chair, and the sound of peace. One morning, I got an email. From him. Mark. "Hey, I saw you in an article. You've really made something of yourself. I'm proud of you. Would love to catch up if you're around." I swear I laughed so loud that the couple next to me turned their heads. Now he wanted to talk? After vanishing when I could barely stand? After walking away like I was just an inconvenience? I didn't reply. Not then. Because I knew revenge isn't about replying fast. It's about building something so untouchable that when they finally look for you, you're already out of reach. When I got home, I started something new. Something bigger. I kept thinking about all the women I'd met in recovery, strong, brave, and scared. Most of them didn't have support systems. Some didn't have jobs to go back to. They needed hope and resources, not pity. So I created the Arden Foundation, a nonprofit that helped women get medical care, therapy, and career training after major health challenges. At first, it was small. Just a few volunteers, a rented office, and a ton of passion. But I'd learned how to scale things. And this time, it wasn't about money. It was about purpose. Within 2 years, we had partnerships with clinics, hospitals, and even corporate sponsors. And for the first time, I was being invited to speak at conferences about resilience, recovery, and rebuilding your life from nothing. Funny thing? Every time I spoke, I could feel that younger version of me watching from the sidelines, the one who cried on the couch, clutching her phone, wondering why love disappeared when she needed it most. I'd look straight into the camera or the audience and think, see? You made it. Without him. Then, one day, life handed me the most poetic twist of all. A private investor approached me with a proposal, a hospital that had gone bankrupt during the pandemic. It was once a dream project for a small group of local developers. One of them, I'd soon find out, was Mark. When I saw his name on the old investor list, I nearly choked on my coffee. I had to reread it 3 times just to believe it. I asked the broker, so this hospital, who owns the remaining shares? He said, a few investors pulled out years ago. One of them's been trying to sell his stake for months. I smiled. Really? I think I'd like to buy it. The paperwork took a few weeks. But the day I signed those ownership documents, I swear I felt the earth shift beneath me. The same man who walked out when I was at my lowest had once dreamed of owning a hospital that could change healthcare forever. And now, that hospital belonged to me. I renamed it the Hopewell Center, dedicated it to women's recovery, and built an entire wing for free treatment programs through my foundation. Every plaque, every banner, every donor event carried the same message. For those who were left behind, but refused to stay down. A few months after the hospital's grand opening, I started getting interview requests. Podcasts, magazines, talk shows, all wanting to hear about the woman who turned pain into purpose. It felt surreal, honestly. Some days, I still woke up expecting to see my old apartment walls, the peeling paint, the cracked mirror, the version of me that didn't know who she was without someone else's approval. But that girl was gone. I had become someone else entirely. Then, one afternoon, it happened. I was at the hospital reviewing expansion plans when my assistant knocked gently on my office door. Ms. Arden? There's a visitor here to see you. He said you know him? A Mr. Mark Turner. For a second, I just froze. It was like my mind short-circuited. I hadn't heard that name spoken aloud in years. Did he say what he wanted? I asked. She shook her head. He said it's important. He looked nervous. Of course he did. I took a deep breath, smoothed down my blazer, and said, send him in. He walked in looking smaller somehow. Not physically, but in energy. He used to carry himself like the world owed him something, chin high, smug grin, always in control. Now he looked like someone who'd been chasing something and lost it along the way. He gave me a shaky smile. Wow, you look incredible, Mia. It's been a long time. I nodded. It has. Silence stretched between us. He glanced around the office, the polished furniture, the awards, the hospital blueprint framed on the wall. So, he said, trying to sound casual, you're running this place now? I smiled politely. I own it. He blinked. You what? I own it, I repeated, my tone calm, steady, almost soft. The Hopewell Center and the Arden Foundation. We're expanding 2 new wings next year. His mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. For a moment, I could see it, that flicker of disbelief, the weight of regret settling in. He shifted awkwardly in his seat. That's amazing. I, actually came here for a reason. I leaned back in my chair. I figured. He exhaled slowly. After everything fell apart with the old investors, I lost my job. Things haven't really bounced back since then. I was hoping, maybe, you'd have a position for me here. Something I could do to help. He looked at me with that same boyish charm that once melted my heart. But this time, it felt like a trick I'd already seen through. I wanted to laugh, scream, maybe cry, but instead, I just smiled. The kind of smile that hides years of pain behind quiet strength. Mark, I said softly, you know what's funny? You left because you didn't think I'd make it. You couldn't handle the struggle. And now you're asking for a job in the company that was born from that struggle. His face turned red. I know, I messed up. I was scared, okay? I didn't know how to deal with what was happening. I was stupid. I tilted my head slightly. You were a coward. He swallowed hard. You're right. The silence between us was sharp. Outside my window, I could see nurses walking patients to their appointments, people fighting for their lives with more courage than he ever had. Finally, I stood up, walked around my desk, and stopped right in front of him. You know, I said, you once told me I'd never be strong enough to survive on my own, that I depended on you too much. He nodded slowly, ashamed. I continued, turns out, you were half right. I did depend on someone, but it wasn't you. It was me. So, he said, trying to sound casual, you're running this place now? I smiled politely. I own it. He blinked. You what? I own it, I repeated, my tone calm, steady, almost soft. The Hopewell Center and the Arden Foundation. We're expanding 2 new wings next year. His mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. For a moment, I could see it, that flicker of disbelief, the weight of regret settling in. He shifted awkwardly in his seat. That's amazing. I actually came here for a reason. I leaned back in my chair. I figured. He exhaled slowly. After everything fell apart with the old investors, I lost my job. Things haven't really bounced back since then. I was hoping, maybe, you'd have a position for me here. Something I could do to help. He looked at me with that same boyish charm that once melted my heart. But this time, it felt like a trick I'd already seen through. I wanted to laugh, scream, maybe cry, but instead, I just smiled. The kind of smile that hides years of pain behind quiet strength. Mark, I said softly, you know what's funny? You left because you didn't think I'd make it. You couldn't handle the struggle. And now you're asking for a job in the company that was born from that struggle. His face turned red. I know, I messed up. I was scared, okay? I didn't know how to deal with what was happening. I was stupid. I tilted my head slightly. You were a coward. He swallowed hard. You're right. The silence between us was sharp. Outside my window, I could see nurses walking patients to their appointments, people fighting for their lives with more courage than he ever had. Finally, I stood up, walked around my desk, and stopped right in front of him. You know, I said, you once told me I'd never be strong enough to survive on my own, that I depended on you too much. He nodded slowly, ashamed. I continued, turns out, you were half right. I did depend on someone, but it wasn't you. It was me. So, he said, trying to sound casual, you're running this place now? I smiled politely. I own it. He blinked. You what? I own it, I repeated, my tone calm, steady, almost soft. The Hopewell Center and the Arden Foundation. We're expanding 2 new wings next year. His mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. For a moment, I could see it, that flicker of disbelief, the weight of regret. He looked up at me, his eyes glassy. I really am proud of you, Mia. You've built something incredible. I smiled faintly. I know. Then I reached into my drawer and pulled out a small envelope. Inside it was a card, a symbolic gesture I'd thought about for years. I handed it to him. Here, consider it a full circle moment. He opened it. Inside was a donation certificate, a $50,000 check made out to the Hopewell Recovery Fund. In the memo line, I'd written, "For the ones who stayed, when others walked away." He stared at it for a long time, not saying a word. When he finally looked up, I added quietly, "That's not for you. It's for the people who actually fight through things. But I wanted you to see what real love looks like. It gives back, even when it's been broken." He stood up slowly, nodding, his voice cracking. "You don't have to do this." I smiled. "Oh, I know. That's the point." He left soon after that. And as the door closed behind him, I felt lighter. Not because I'd gotten revenge, but because I'd finished the story. You see, revenge isn't about hurting them back. It's about becoming someone they can never reach again. Someone they remember, not with power over you, but with regret over losing you. Months later, I heard he moved out of state, started over. Good for him. Truly. Because I had moved on too far beyond him, beyond pain, beyond the version of myself that once begged someone to stay. Now, when I walk through the hospital halls, I see patients smiling, nurses laughing, lives being rebuilt, and I think, this is what love should have looked like from the start. Not someone who runs when things get hard, but people who stay, fight, and heal together. And every time I pass the front sign that says the Hopewell Center, founded by Mia Arden, I whisper under my breath, "You left when I was weak, but I rose when you were gone. And now, I've built something you could never touch."